when we accept the fact that we are going to relapse again, rather than being overwhelmed with the emotions of shame and guilt and defeat, we can analyze our relapse and learn from our mistakes. And this is why we have to accept the fact that we're going to relapse again. What's up, you guys, and welcome to the Road to Recovery YouTube channel, a video series to encourage men who are battling porn addiction. And in today's episode, I want to talk to you guys about relapses. As porn addicts, we've all made that promise to ourselves that we would never relapse again. And usually, we make this promise after a relapse. But just as we started is how we finish, and that is with the inevitable relapse. So what gives? Should we just accept defeat and that our porn addiction will forever reign supreme in our lives? Of course not. We don't have to accept defeat over our porn addiction. But what we have to do is to stop making the promise that we're never going to relapse again. We have to accept the fact that we will relapse again. Now, this might seem like a bit of an oxymoron because I'm telling you guys that we don't have to accept defeat, but at the same time that we have to accept that we're going to relapse again. But there's a reason for this. When we tell ourselves that we're never going to relapse again, and then we do inevitably relapse again, we have to deal with the emotions of shame, guilt, and ultimately defeat. And all of this only aids in the cycle of porn addiction. But when we accept the fact that we are going to relapse again, rather than being overwhelmed with the emotions of shame and guilt and defeat, we can analyze our relapse and learn from our mistakes. And this is why we have to accept the fact that we're going to relapse again. We can ready ourselves to learn from a future relapse. We can anticipate the mistakes that we're going to make and learn from them. Now, when a relapse happens, it isn't a surprise. I knew this was going to happen. So what can I learn from it? Analyze what boundaries were broken. What emotions led up to this relapse in the previous days or weeks. So now, rather than committing to never relapsing again, we can commit to never relapsing the same way. You should never make the same mistake twice. And the same is true for our recovery. So even though we know that we're going to relapse again, we can fortify our strategy. For example, some of you might struggle with relapsing at nighttime. So rather than committing to never relapsing again, you can commit to never doing the smaller things that lead up to that relapse. You can commit to not surfing the internet at night. You can commit to not browsing YouTube before going to sleep. You can commit to not taking your phone with you into the bedroom. If you commit to these little things that lead up to a relapse, then you will prevent the relapse from happening. And that is why it is important to commit to these smaller steps rather than making a giant proclamation that you will never relapse again. By focusing on the little things, you will prevent relapses. You have to be able to analyze your relapses. They will happen. You have to be able to learn from those mistakes. You have to be able to be specific and single out the little things that lead to a relapse and commit to not doing these things that lead to a relapse again. Remember, don't make the same mistake twice. It's really that simple, guys. The hard part is applying this to your recovery, but you don't have to do this alone. Subscribe to my channel, and I will help you on your road to recovery. Until next time.